Hello everyone, I am Professor Nayan Asne, Department of Information Technology, Parvatibai Ganbamuse College of Engineering, Bagoli, Pune. So in this session we are going to see the designing the view layer, as the view layer is one of the layer which will interact with the user by taking the request from the user and providing the response to the user. While the user is requesting something from the web browser, the request goes with the proper protocol to the business layer, and from business layer it will go to the data layer. Whatever data user is requesting is taken in the proper format, it will goes to the business layer, and business layer will be responsible to send the data to the view layer, and the view layer is one layer which will displays the response, displays the data on your web browser, or you can say on a UI. So the main goal of the UI is to display and obtain the needful information which is easily accessible in efficient manner. It is put in the attractive design, which is one of the creative process. So the UI layer consists of the two types of objects. The first is the object which interacts with the user, and the object which need to manage the UI, or we can say to control the UI. So these two objects are necessary while the UI layer is consist of. So the responsibility of the view layer object is to take the input which is responding from the user interaction. So whatever user will interact with the web browser, from that will take the input. So the first responsibility of the view layer is to take the input from the user and translate the user action into the appropriate format. We can say that in appropriate protocol, with the help of appropriate protocol, and give it to the business layer, or we can say print on the business layer object. So there are two main responsibility of the view layer. First responsibility is to take the input from the corresponding user by the interaction. The interaction happens in a web browser, or we can say in application, in proper application. And second is translate that proper user action, the proper user request, into the appropriate format using the proper protocol, and display or print on a business object. So the business layer will be totally responsible to process the things and go to the database layer. So these two main responsibility is carried out by user by using the view layer. So there are for process of designing the view layer classes, there are four major activities we can consider while you are designing a view layer classes. So each and every layer is having a different classes at the different level. So view layer also has the different classes to manage the user input and providing the response to the user. So majorly there are four activities which will take place into designing a view layer. The first is the micro level UI design process, that is to identify the view layer object. This is also called as to identify the view layer object. So micro level UI design process. Second is micro level UI design activities. So the activities which will take place while designing the micro level. Third is testing the usability and user satisfaction. So you need to test the usability and user satisfaction. And fourth one is to refine and iterate the design. So these four activities is the major part of designing a view layer classes. So let's see first one, that is a micro level UI design process, which is also called as identifying the view layer objects. So it takes place using the analysis phase. So identifying the view layer object process, it is done in the analysis phase, that identifying the classes that interact with the human actors. So we need to identify which classes will interact with the human actors by analyzing or by using the use case. So two types of diagram is used in micro level UI design process. The first one is the use case diagram, and second one is the sequence and collaboration diagram. As these two diagrams are used for the interaction purpose, as we have seen in second unit only, the sequence and collaboration diagram is used for the interaction purpose. They will show how user will interact with the system. So if you want to find the classes which will interact with the human, or a human actor which will interact with the human actor, you need to analyze two different diagrams. The first one is the use case diagram, by which we identify the classes that interact with the human actors, and second diagram is the sequence and collaboration diagram, that will help the UI classes, so the user interface classes. So these two diagrams need to analyze in the micro level UI design to identify the view layer objects. The second one is the micro level UI design activities. So designing the view layer object by applying the proper axioms and the corollaries, decide how to use and extend the component that will best suit for your application, that will best suit for your functionality and provide the most usable interface. So whatever activities we are requiring for designing the view layer, by applying different constraints, by applying different corollaries, that is libraries or the design axioms. So you need to specify all these activities under the micro level UI design activity. So prototype is also created in the view layer, that will also used in early design phases to know how the user will interact with the system. So the prototyping is also used in the micro level UI design activity. So the activities which are required for designing the micro level UI design, that activities are carried out. Then that activity contains the applying different design axioms and the corollaries, then creating your prototype, then deciding how to use and extend your components that will best suit for your application for the specific function and provide the most usable interface. And your third is testing the usability and user interface. That means you have to test the usability of the functionality, and the user satisfaction is the most important, as the user will send the request from the view layer and get the response from the user. So you need to test the user satisfaction for the view layer and refine an iterative design. That means if something goes miss, then you have to refine the things, you have to again create and change the things and iterate the design. You have to continuously iterate and improve your designing. So that is your 4 major points which need to be considered while you are designing the view layer. So as we have seen, if the classes interact with the human actor, then it will goes to utilize sequence diagram, utilizing the sequence and collaboration diagrams to find the UI classes, different UI classes. Then identify the interface object of the class. So if you are finding the class which will interact with the user, you need to find the objects also of that particular classes, define the relationship among the different view objects, and then continue for the business layer. If the classes doesn't interact with the human actor, it will directly go to the decision and directly go to the business phase. And if the human actors are interfacing, then you have to refine and iterate the thing. So this is one of flow chart which will give the idea of micro level design process. As the query comes, then it will see whether the human interaction objects are needed or not, or the class are interacting with the human actors or not. If yes, then you need to find the different classes under the sequence and collaboration diagram. After the classes are identified, you need to identify the objects of that classes that will take part in interaction, and then you have to define the relationship among the different view objects. And again, if there is some missing, if there is some extra need to add, then you need to again refine and iterate the process, again go with the flow, and then if everything is finalized, then go to the business layer with whatever request has been sent by the user, that will goes to the business layer with the proper protocol. So this is the micro level design process. Here are something rules which is really needed while you are designing the view layer. First is to make the interface simple. So you have to make the interface simple so that the user can easily understand what is displaying on the UI. So your user interface should be simple. If the user interface is complex, the user will not get entertained on your screen, or the user will not get entertained on your application or on your project. So the first thing is to make your user interface so simple. Suppose the car, if you are driving a car, then the user don't know how the engine is complex. He just know how to start the car and how to make use of it. But the driver interface remains simple. So driver only knows how to drive a car. He doesn't know about the car engine. So what you have to make? You have to make the user interface simple instead of making it complex. Whatever complexity is, it is at the backend stage, at the development stage. User just need a simple query, or we can say the simple request from the UI, and it will get the response from displaying the information on the UI. So the user must be able to work with our screen without asking much of the question. So that means the user interface should be simple. So we need to consider that factors which are affecting your UI. So that factor contains your deadlines, different deadlines, comparative evaluations, what comparative evaluations are going on and what you are working on. So additional features, any additional features. So shortcuts that is used to consider while designing the UI. So additional feature affects your, if you are adding the feature, that additional feature affects your performance, your complexity, your fixing the problem, and the release of your product is good difficult. Why? Because you are adding the additional features. Okay, so these are the design rules which need to take care while you are designing a viewer. So I hope this simple session is understood by all of you. So if you have any query, you can comment in comment box. Thank you.